Hey everybody, it's Jang here from jangbricks.com with the Mega Bloks Halo set, The Forward Unto Dawn. Set number 97117. Haha, 117, you get it? With 2,877 pieces. This cost $250 from Toys R Us, and this thing is absolutely huge, enormous, massive, and pretty amazing. Before I get into looking at the ship in detail, let's take a look at the minifigs. First and foremost is John 117, the Master Chief himself. And this was, I believe, when this set was released, was the introduction to the Mega Bloks Halo line of the new design for Master Chief's upgraded Mark 6 armor. A lot of folks refer to this incorrectly as Mark 7. It's not Mark 7, it's Mark 6. Still Master Chief, just been upgraded as these suits are able to be changed over time. Now this is still to this day, as of the time of this video, an exclusive figure to this set because this one is actually done in an exclusive color and with an exclusive paint job. So this one has a metallic green color, and most of that, as far as I can tell, if not all, is paint. The green is actually paint. The figure is black. And in addition, on top of the green paint, they then went back separately with black paint and added on extra details. So you see these black bits here, some in the torso, some other stripes I've seen around. I think on the side, some of this is redetailed. Oh, the stripe on the helmet also. That's separate. So not the same as the later official Master Chief figure that came out with the Cryo Tube set, which is this one here. And you can see, hopefully you can see in the video that it's a little bit different color. This one is a solid color, and the color is the green color is actually in the plastic, and then it just has a wash over it. Same mold, exact same mold, but a completely different finish between the two. So this is the one we get here, and also another nice thing about this one is the inclusion of a battle rifle that is painted. So it looks like it's a gunmetal gray plastic and then painted with medium gray on top of that. And it's pretty nicely done. There's even a stripe around the end of the barrel. Just the best battle rifle that you can get so far from Mega Bloks. This is the Halo 4 Covenant Elite Zealot, and as of the time of this video, I've already shown this guy, this mold, in several different videos, different versions of him, but I believe this was the first one of him that was released. And again, this one is exclusive to this set even now because of his paint. So he's got the kind of sea blue color, a dark blue with just a tiny bit of green in it, and that's the main color. You've got a little lavender up here on these upper holes, and you've got frost colored eyes, so it's a slightly bluish kind of cyan metallic color. And there's a lot of very, very flat, very dark gray, or flat black if you want to call it that. It's actually a gray. It's actually added on as a paint, I believe, around the arms, and it's kind of subtle. You have to look for it. If you just look at the figure from a distance and don't really appreciate it, you won't notice just how much is painted on there, but there's a lot of work that went into the build or the production of this figure. Got a plasma rifle, and this one's in purple, slightly iridescent, no paint on that one, just a solid color from the plastic. Nothing too fancy with the weapon, but the figure is actually really nice. This is a UNSC officer, and once again, lots of different paint applications used here, with the dark gray basically being the plastic color, at least for the main body pieces, and then you've got the kind of olive green used here, you've got black, you've got a matte, flat, light gray here. The hands are actually the extra light gray plastic color. The shoes are painted. You can see the cap actually has that dark red going around it, in addition to a little bit of the looks like the olive color. It's kind of hard to make out, but it looks like it's a slightly olive green color. Not the coolest looking face, you know. It's so much more toyish looking compared to the Spartans and the elites that they've done. But as the human figures go, this one is pretty well done. And finally, speaking of human figures, the last figure here in this set, a UNSC technician. And again, lots of paint applications, but in this case, it's using just mostly one color of paint. So the light, extra light gray there is the color of the plastic, and then they used a gunmetal gray all the way around on all these details to kind of give it more depth and contrast. And you can see a kind of a darker tone used for the skin on this one. Compared here, side to side, you can see just a little bit of a difference in the color of the plastic between the two. So those are the figures that are included with the set. It's not a minifig scale set, but it was nice that they gave us figures regardless. And the ship itself, which you'll see now, actually does have some minifig related features to it. There's an interesting thing about this. It's trying to be a replica, but it's trying to be a replica of something that we haven't actually seen. We Halo fans haven't actually seen. It is a complete Forward Unto Dawn in the 343 Industries Halo 4 version. The actual ship, quote unquote actual ship in the game and in the Halo world, was completely redesigned in the transition over to Halo 4. And by that time in the timeline of events of Halo, the thing had already been split into two. The front half had come down to Earth with the Arbiter, and the rear half was floating out in space with Master Chief in stasis. So we've never actually seen this thing all the way together, and so it's a little bit of a stretch to try to compare it to the so-called real thing. I'm assuming that Mega Bloks did their research with 343 Studios, since they do have a great working relationship with them, to get all the details, you know, approximately correct in terms of the scale. But overall, the thing just looks great. The original package with all the pieces in it weighed about 15 pounds, if I recall correctly. So it is not only large in size, but it is quite massive. And you definitely want to take care when figuring out a place to display this and when just moving it around. They do have some pretty sturdy stands that you build, actually brick-built stands beneath to hold it up and keep it from folding in on itself, but still just so much to hang on to, so much to behold. You can see that there's a lot of use of really small pieces of various types of texture to get that kind of sci-fi feeling to it of a capital ship. This is intended to be in 1/500th scale, and I'll show you where they mention that. Looking at this from the front, you can see a lot of antennae, you know, various sensor type of details showing up here. And I believe that this yellow portion right here is intended to be a representation of where the Mac cannon tube would be for this ship, although that might be a little bit low. I'm not actually seeing anything that looks properly like the tunnel ought to appear on this one. So that's just one thing that I was personally really looking forward to. Up on top here towards the front, you've got a couple of missile silos on each side that are represented there, and then you have the all-important plaque to indicate the designation of this particular ship. Down the center, you can see you've got the proper large open gap in here, and you can actually build this without any connection between the upper portion and the lower portion, but they do give you some clear bricks, which are actually under here. You can just see right there, 2x2s to just space that out and make sure that there isn't any sagging over time, so it helps it to be more durable and a little bit easier to move around safely. Again, tons and tons of small pieces. Not a lot of stickers used here. There are some stickers, but not too many. It really tried to focus on the use of pieces rather than stickers to give you texture and detail. Up here on the upper surface, you can see they've got some turrets around here, and these can actually be posed. You can kind of rotate them around a little bit. You can also change the inclination of the barrels. I really like the look of these. They're pretty simple, but I don't know. There's something about that particular look of guns bristling off the side of a ship that is just very classic to me. And then you've got a couple more. These are double-barreled ones on either side. These are intended to rotate a little bit more easily. They're actually on turntable pieces. And down beneath here on the side of the ship, you can see what's supposed to be the outer shielding going around the hangar bay, and you've got one of those on either side. Speaking of the sides, you have these very prominent side pods. Now, this I'm not sure is entirely accurate, because we do get to see a couple of times actual footage released by 343 where they actually did CG that seemed to indicate that there should be longer extensions on the fronts of these pods on the upper portion that would have gotten in the way of these guns being here. But that is one thing that's, I feel, is a little bit recognizable that was kind of missed. But here, as you turn this around, you can see the shape, how thin they got those, very nice, but then still very sturdy in the center, so these are not going to break off easily. The bridge section, I think, is done really well, and this actually uses a combination of straight up and down building and upside down building. So all these pieces up here on the top are actually upside down. You can see these are the bottom, no studs sticking up. That was really smart. And they used some transparent yellow pieces to indicate, lights from all the viewports around the side. That's really nice. It's well done. It captures the shape well, and I think it works really well in this scale. From the back, you get the all-important huge engines, and they did put these transparent blue pieces in here to indicate the glow coming from engines that are fully functional. This is obviously from before the events at the end of Halo 3, and you even have the smaller little kind of thruster, more maneuvering, turning engines off to the side. So those look really good. The whole thing looks good from the back. Actually transitioned from silver used up here on the top to a gunmetal darker gray in here. Gives it a nice contrast and a nice proper semi-realistic feel. On the left side of the craft, on the base, that's actually one of the pedestals holding it up, they give you this really nice plaque, and that's where you see the 1/500th scale, and you have emblems on there and just the official designation. And that's a really nice piece because it's not just printed, they actually embossed the kind of chrome silver into there, so it really adds to the collectability of it. This is great. This is really presentable from the outside, collectible, presentable, looks great, but they went far above and beyond. With something this large, has so much space available inside, they actually made use of that as well. And these top sections can be pretty easily removed. They're not actually attached with studs, they're just kind of slid down on there. And one small extra little bit there that opens up the top, and you can do whatever you want with these, but let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. The small forwardmost compartment has a armory, or is an armory, and it has a selection of different weapons. They include a handful of SMGs, also some magnums, and over on this side there's a whole row of regular assault rifles. On the front wall, you get 3 frag grenades, and this is kind of a radio pack that you can use as a backpack on a figure, pretty large one. And the most interesting thing here to me is the inclusion of a sticky detonator, and that one is actually painted, so it's in gunmetal gray, but they painted it with green going across the top of the stock or the rail towards the rear. So a nice, kind of deluxe little bit of detail there. The next compartment has a selection of consoles and controls and panels that you can look at and change things, levers, and a couple keypads. This is a look from one side. You can see some indications of various levels of systems throughout the ship. And here it is looking at the other side, which, as you can see, is practically mirrored. The rearmost compartment is the coolest, hands down. This one wins. It's the one that represents the cryo bay, and you can see here a single cryo tube, which is using the same mold which was later used for the independent cryo tube set for Master Chief. And you can see they have a nice little frost application of paint around the edges to indicate that it is still fully charged. And there's a little console indicating the health level or vitals of the individual inside, which should be Master Chief. And then you've got little Cortana on a pedestal, a little console here, and that's a big deal because this is a light up pedestal. The piece underneath on the bottom actually projects a light through this little micro figure, which is one piece, and you push it down and it lights up with a little bit of flashing there and glows a little bit. And I'll go ahead and turn down the lights so that you can see that a little bit better. All right, here we go. Push it down. Real nice glow, and I really appreciate the fact that it does not just turn on as just a plain light. It's got a little controller in there to give it a little flickering and changes its intensity, just makes it more realistic. It does not stay on. As you can see, it will turn off, kind of flicker its way off, but still a really cool piece, and all that is contained in just this one little pillar right here. You can also remove the Cortana piece separately, but there you can see how the light is coming up through this. So very nicely done, and there you go. Now there's one last big thing that I want to show you. Before I put these top pieces back on, I took these two out. These are semi-temporary connectors, and what this is going to allow me to do with them out is very easily demonstrate the splitting feature. Obviously, I've mentioned already, and Halo fans already know, that the thing got cut off at the end of Halo 3. It gets split into 2, and you can do that now with those 2 little pieces removed just by kind of doing like so. It's that easy. Very nicely done. They don't really put any major emphasis on this, but for the Halo 4 game unveil, there was this little teaser trailer which showed Master Chief out here on this little bit of open space looking out into space, or actually not into space, but into the troubles and trials and tribulations that were to come. And this just allows you to kind of replicate that. It's a little bit out of date now here in late 2013, but when this was released, that was a big deal to be able to get that. And there's just a couple other little details. This goes here and this goes here, or something like that. These just represent conduits and wires and such that have been separated out, from where the ship kind of broke apart. So that just gives you that little extra bit of realism, so to speak. And this is one spot where they did add in some additional stickers that are pretty large and just add a little bit more to the look from the front. So there you have it, Mega Bloks Collector Series Halo Forward Unto Dawn. Big ship, big set, big deal. And nicely executed, makes a beautiful display piece, although very large and very heavy. But a lot of work putting this together. Very important if you are interested in getting one of these, that when you first open everything up and get into all the bags, that you take a lot of time sorting out the parts and the pieces into logical groups, because the bags that they come in are mostly not sorted in any kind of way that's going to help you out. Things are separated to some degree, but you're going to want to really, put plates together, put blocks together, go by color or shape, however your brain wants to organize things. But definitely very important to get prepared in advance, set up a bunch of trays or bowls, and just be ready to take your time, because the end result is well worth it, I think. So thank you for watching this review, look at this big set. And I don't think I'm going to be taking this one apart. No, it's too big, too much work went into it. I'll just keep this together as a display piece. And I will be doing other reviews, so be sure to stay tuned for those. And if you haven't seen the ones I've already done, you can go through them on my channel, or you can easily browse through them at jangbricks.com, where you'll also see all updates of new things that are coming. So stay tuned, and I'll talk to you again soon.